Hi friends, and welcome to 5 Hungry Travelers. If you've been here at our channel before, you'll see that we are all about travel with kids with dietary restrictions. And so often we just jump into all the amazing places we visit and show you what we eat, gluten and dairy free. We also have other restrictions like we avoid soy and dyes and we're pescatarian, but we've never shown you how. How did we plan that trip? How did we pick that restaurant? And what are the rules we go by to make sure our trip sticks to all of our guidelines? And so today I'm going to take you a little bit deeper into that, and I have a few other videos so that you can plan the same kind of trips. There's nothing that we've researched, nothing special we've done that you can't also do. So let's dive right in. Today's video is all about the 3 rules we keep when we're planning a vacation with dietary restrictions. I can't tell you the number of times I've heard relatives, people in Facebook groups, friends of ours say, well, you're going on vacation, you need to live a little. It's his birthday, he should have it just this once. Doesn't he deserve a treat? Just a little won't kill him. That's my favorite quote from one of the school teachers. Here's what I will say. We have rules and we stick to them. So 1, decide what your absolutes are and don't budge on them. We know that if we have any gluten or any dairy, we're going to have a lot of gastrointestinal distress, as well as a lot of behaviors that go along with feeling yucky. A lot of meltdowns and acting out and frustrations and exhaustion. And nobody wants to feel badly on vacation. You want to feel your best. You want to really be able to enjoy the places you're going. And so as much as I understand people saying, oh, I just want to live a little, it's vacation, I want to forget about all the diet stuff that is our job all day, every day, because these kids, they insist on being fed 3, 4, 17 times every day. It doesn't change on vacation. And of all the times you want to feel good, you want to enjoy your vacation. Make the trip worth it. Make the expense of it worth it. So don't budge on those absolutes. For example, ours are gluten and dairy. We will not budge on those. Rewind. We will not budge on those intentionally. The risk of eating out, which you do pretty much the whole time you're on vacation, is that sometimes you get exposure. This happens. We'll talk about ways to mitigate some of that exposure in a future video about what to do when you get home from vacation. So while we don't budge on gluten and dairy on vacation, sometimes we get exposed to things like soy and food dyes. And these are things that we do our very best to avoid. But if we're on vacation and it's time for a treat and we find a gluten-free, dairy-free cupcake that happens to have a few sprinkles on it, we can try to take some of them off, but my kids might get a little bit of food dyes. And that's something that sometimes happens, and for us, that rule is a little flexible. So know which rules are absolute, which rules are flexible. And it also may be different for you depending on who is there, what's going on. When we are traveling, you'll see in our California video that our kids had hot dogs that were kosher. So that is something that we will change the vegetarian pescatarian thing on if we have access to certain foods that are just, they're rare for us to get, but we do allow them. When Nick is traveling on business and he's away from the kids, he might eat a few things that he wouldn't eat around us. So if you're watching some of his videos that are all about aviation and travel on business, his solo travel videos might have a few extra things that you wouldn't see. Hopefully, as you go on more and more vacations, your kids don't continue to beg for that thing that they had that one time that they can't have anymore. Please, Mom, just this once. I know the routine, but I promise you with time, it goes away because they know that it's an absolute and it gets easier. And to those parents who have a child with celiac or food allergies, or if you yourself have celiac or a food allergy, please know I understand that this rule seems a little silly. I know that if you have a life and death reaction, you would never be a little flippant to get just a little exposure. I fully acknowledge that. This rule is more for those parents who have a child with a food sensitivity that causes a reaction, inflammation, a flare-up, but not something so acute that I understand you would never do that. But for those that do have less severe symptoms, I still want to encourage you to stick with it because I personally can attest having a food sensitivity and getting exposed to some of those foods on vacation more than once has left me spending the night laying in the bathroom floor, and the next morning I have to drag myself up off the bath mat because my whole family is waiting for me, and I have to take them into Hollywood Studios where we have a park reservation and lunch plans, and we can't just skip it. We've already scored our Genie Plus. And so we really want to be top of our game as parents. We want our kids to feel good so they can enjoy their vacation. So no budging on those rules that you decide are the right ones for your family. Hold on just one second. Before I give you the next 2 rules, could you do me a favor and subscribe if this is helpful for you? Because you're exactly the kind of person we're looking to build a whole community of here. And subscribing is something that's totally free to you and helps us out a whole bunch. We really appreciate it. But rule number 2 is Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind. So while we initially started this diet for my son, when he had his ADHD diagnosis and worked with a holistic practitioner to identify his food sensitivities and reduce inflammation in his body in a way to support him with his ADHD symptoms, that was a mouthful. And I can advise you on how to find a similar practitioner if you need help with that. Please just leave the note down below. But whenever we got his test results back, we didn't just put him on a restricted diet. Our whole family went on the diet. And you may be in a place where maybe your spouse or if you're traveling with your grandparents and they don't feel like sticking with the diet. Maybe you have older siblings, especially if they are high schoolers that are eating what they want. They don't want to eat the same thing their younger sibling is eating on their restricted diet. I get that. That's hard. For us, we have decided the whole family will stick to the diet. Even though my younger kids are at a different school than my son, I still tell their school, here is our family's restrictions. Because at this point, we've had so little exposure to these foods that we could have some pretty bad reactions when we do get it. You give someone who hasn't had dairy in a long time dairy, and you will probably see some explosive reactions. Just saying. But the nice thing about this rule means that when you're on vacation and it's time for a treat, your child with the food sensitivity doesn't have to watch their siblings have ice cream without them. We are all going to go have fun together. We're going to make sure that food isn't the fun we're having all the time, because a lot of vacations get very food focused, and food shouldn't be an activity. It can be, but it doesn't need to be the sole focus of your vacation. So do some active, get out there, explore, adventure type activities, and then eat. That said, rule number 3 is still have fun with your food. This takes a little bit of planning so that you can figure out where you're gonna go find something that works for your diet and is still a treat. You deserve to have fun on vacation. So plan so that you can do it without breaking all the rules. I don't care how restricted your diet is. You may have no gluten, no dairy, vegan, raw food, no refined sugar, and you could still find a place to get a pretty banging smoothie that would feel like a pretty decadent dessert. Do you have other rules than these 3? Let us know in the comments down below, and we will reply back to every single one of them, because maybe there's something I forgot that you could give me some advice on. I'm so grateful you spent time with me here today, and I hope you'll join us next time. Talk to you later, travelers. Happy traveling.